Yes or no? Have you stopped beating your wife? Is there any way to really answer that question without acknowledging that at some point you beat your wife? When conducting surveys, the way the question is asked and worded means everything. You can get people to agree to pretty much anything if the question is vague enough. This whole 90% of Americans agree with background checks, or that 85% of gun owners agree with background checks that the anti-gunners keep throwing around every time they want to try to make the NRA or any pro-gunner seem unreasonable and crazy is getting out of control. Conducting a survey based around one vague question pertaining to the ultimate conclusion and then toting it around like it's gospel is misleading and deceiving, and it's sickening. Of course 90% of Americans agree with background checks, but here's the question they didn't ask. Do you agree with the gun registration in order to enforce the universal background check? They're not asking that question. I wonder why. Shop that question around and see if you hit a 90% approval rating. If Hitler conducted a survey asking if you agree with improving Germany, he would get a 90% approval. Right up until they found out that he believed killing an entire group of people was his way of doing it. They tried to use the same tactic with the Save the Kids rhetoric for the assault weapons ban. If I'm asked, are you willing to give up all your guns in order to save the kids' lives? What do you think I'm going to say? The question assumes the answer in the question. How do you answer no without looking like a monster? Unless the follow-up question is, do you believe that giving up all your guns will save the kids? Surveys and polls only represent the people who respond to them. And I've never been asked about a universal background check in a survey. Have you? Surveys aren't gospel, they're advocacy whores. Do and say the right thing, and they'll do and say whatever you want them to. If I want to pass an assault weapons ban, and I have the choice of either asking 100,000 people in California versus 100,000 people in South Texas by the Mexican border if they believe anyone needed an assault weapon, who do you think I'm going to ask? Exactly. Don't fall for this BS, because I almost did. And then I got to thinking, wait a minute, something just isn't right here. It's like The Walking Dead, where the governor tries to vilify Rick and the gang as evil monsters for attacking Woodbury. But then the folks later realized that no, it was the governor who lied and misled them in order to facilitate his own personal agenda. I'm just saying.